I figure everybody's kind of burnt out on the tractor videos by now. And I haven't really seen or felt like uh, making any videos lately. But then my wife came up. I always get seed catalogs in this time of year. And my wife came up and she said, "Oh, there's a new seed catalog, seeds and such." And down at the bottom, she said, they are trying to do this backwards, non-GMO. But then the first thing I see when I go to look in it is purple boy hybrid tomatoes. So I get to looking through there. They do have some green beans that are not hybrid, but then they've got some I haven't heard of. And they do have some hybrid, some it's not hybrid corn. These are open pollinated. But they've only got one or two types. Why? Because most of the crap they've got is just exactly that. Hybrid sweet corn, normal types. So let's look at hybrid. To me, hybrid is a genetically modified organism. That's what, where do they come off saying non-GMO? When most of the stuff in, I mean, they've got some okra and some other things that's not. But tomatoes and corn certainly are. And if you go to Lowe's and some of these places, they'll have big seed things set up. Some of them will say non-GMO, but then you look, and there's hybrid this and hybrid that. Hybrid is when you take a plant and you want to mix it with another plant. Doesn't have to be the same species. And that's what's causing some of these food allergies, like when a kid eats a tomato or whatever, and he's not got any allergies to that, but he does have a nut allergy. And all of a sudden, they'll have a reaction to it. And they can't figure out why. Well, they can figure out why if they wanted to, because, I mean, I'm not smart, but I've got enough sense to know if you cross a peanut with something else, that there's going to be certain traits of that peanut left. The way that all this crap's come about is John Kerry's wife was a Heinz. Is that well? Her maiden name's Heinz. Not just any Heinz, Heinz ketchup Heinz. And at one point, even now, Heinz comes back and says, "Oh, we don't grow any genetically modified tomatoes," but they take a chemical to strip them. Whereas Hunt's uses genetically modified tomatoes, but they use water to strip them. The Organic Society started out good. And then the government stepped in. And we all know that when the government steps in on something, it's going to be screwed up. Why? Because we have one of the most corrupt governments ever. Through lobbying, which is nothing more than legalized bribery, and career politicians, our country's gone to hell in a handbasket. Well, when somehow she gets appointed to this organics board, the new one, the government took over. And from there, some of these corporate farms and corporate seed companies, corporations, I should say, have been appointed in there as well. Just like the FDA, the head over the FDA used to be one of Monsanto big people. So there's a revolving door between uh, the government and uh, certain agencies in the government, almost every agency in the government. So it's bought and paid for. So anyway, they start changing what's going to be called hybrid or what's going to be called genetically modified. I don't think they even address genetically engineered. They genetically engineered some salmon and they grow larger than the salmon, regular salmon. And it just sounded great. And again, Washington gives them a patent on it, even though there's never supposed to be a patent on life. The trick is, unless you change something. So they give them a patent, they turn these big ass fish loose and they start eating the regular fish. And so the regular salmon may go extinct in a few years. The government's always done some stupid stuff. Here we've got black-headed vultures. Or we don't hardly have any red-headed ones anymore. And the red-headed ones, they kind of take up the land, whatever's dead. Black-headed ones kill stuff. And so anyway, this seeds and such, this is going in the trash. For one, they lie. Just because John Kerry's wife and a bunch of crooked people on the board says that genetically modified organisms, GMO, which is what a hybrid is, that it's okay. They're not genetically modified. Yes, they are. And they like to use corn as an example. They say corn started out tiny, and then it's evolved into what we have now. I don't know how true that is, but a lot of stuff years ago they made through natural selection, not Darwin's natural selection, but they would select a tomato or corn or whatever had the traits that they wanted it to have, and that's what they produced. Any sweet corn that's hybrid is a GMO, in my opinion. Any tomato that's a hybrid is a GMO. Just because they say it's not, don't mean it ain't. And if you happen to be a prepper or a survivalist or a regular farm that just wants to be independent, then you won't fall for this hybrid crap. Because when you save the seeds from a hybrid, you may be able to plant them and get back the same thing, but chances are you're not. And it's going to revert back to whatever parent plants that they use to produce it. So, it just blows my mind. What really blows my mind is that the public lets them get away with it. We let them get away with a lot of shit they shouldn't. But anyway, if you really want to be independent, you really want to be self-sufficient, you really want to be productive, then, you'll save your own seeds. Now, this past year, the deep freeze that kept my seeds went down, and we lost a lot of seeds. But I went and bought another freezer, and we put what we think still stayed good in there. We haven't checked them. But I don't save tomato seeds and cucumber seeds just because of all the hassle to go through, but I may start. My beans, corn, okra, just about everything else I save the seeds from. My beans, I pick them once, then I pick them twice, then the next time I let them go to seed. And that's where I get my seeds from. And I build up a pretty good size amount of seeds. Some seeds they like to change the name of them so that you'll think you're getting something new, but you're not. It's the same thing that you grew before. And as deceptive as that seems, that is nothing compared to telling people that they're getting a real product that they're not. In case you're wondering, I'm not drinking the best stuff in the world. But we're beginning to run low on the stuff we put up from our gardens. And it's been 2 years since I grew a garden. The first year my back was out. The second year I had lung cancer, so I haven't grown a garden 2 years. I don't know that I can still grow one, but I'm going to sure try. But where I get my seeds from, Southern Exposure Seed Exchange. These are good people. And if I can get that right, serving the past for the future. And it is the future, because at any given point in time, if they own these seeds, then they can just quit making them, and then you're screwed. There's another Southern Exposure. I really like them. They're good people. Seed Savers Exchange are good. One of my favorites is Baker Creek Seeds. These are all people that do not graze any genetically modified. Territorial Seeds, they usually come out with this, which is a bigger catalog. And it's got genetically modified stuff in it. But it's also got real food, what I call real food. And they also come out with a smaller version of that. And it'll tell you whether it's organic, heirloom, and heirloom's what you better stick with, because that seems to be a name that the government and everybody else has pushed out there. Organic, organic just simply means, for the most part, that you've grown according to what they say you can use. They still have fertilizers, they still have pesticides, they still have herbicides. And as long as it's within their little thing, well, you're fine. And so that's why organic no longer means organic. I used to know this little Jewish guy that come down and bought chickens and peacocks. And he laughed. He said they come by and checked his farm out. This was when organic meant organic. And he said, I had everything hid. They checked my farm out. As soon as he left, I pulled back out all the stuff I wasn't supposed to use. So, but that's just somebody being crooked. So anyway, as long as we've got career politicians and people like that that's in there, nothing's going to change. As long as you're voting for one of the names that is all over the news and the TV, whether it's Trump and Hillary or whoever, those people are bought, paid for, and controlled. And you and I don't count. And if you farm, you really don't count. I mean, all of them get up there and they create a problem. They bitch about that problem. They campaign against the problem, but they never actually solve the problem. So, anyway, since they've come in with this organic, they've used the Nazis' tactics, which is really kind of surprised me in a way, and in a way it doesn't. Hitler or one of his people, there was one thing they said, if you tell a lie big enough and long enough, people will believe it. That's probably a paraphrase, but, and then there was another one where if you tell a lie long enough, people will accept it as the truth. or something like that. So, you know, they've gotten up and they've changed organic. Unless you farm for years and years and years, you know what they've changed. And they've changed it and they've promoted it unto the point that now people believe it. But don't fall for it. If you're wanting to be able to save your seeds year after year, never have to buy no more of them, then you'll, unless you just want to add something. Like, I'll go through these catalogs and say I want to grow a different, I want to add, I should say, a different type of cucumber, or if I want to add a different type of pepper. You know, what if I want to add something different, then I go there and I buy these seeds. And if I need one pack, I buy two. That way I've got some for the next year in case something happens and there's a shortage. All the corn that we grow is open pollinated. And then here's the funny thing on that. If you go to the store and you try to buy animal feed and it says organic, you pay a big price. And the real funny thing is with corn, for instance, it don't all come in at the same time. Unlike the sweet corn, which usually relatively close, most of it comes in. Okay, if you got feed corn, you're just going to let it dry on the stalk. So what does it matter whether it's open pollinated or it's genetically modified or hybrid, whatever you want to call it? I mean, they come in at the same time. So if you're eating it, that's one thing. But if you're feeding it to animals, a far better thing is the open pollinate. They've done tests where deer and other animals will walk away from genetically modified corn and go to the real corn and eat it. I know we had a small corn patch put out one time. The neighbor put out about 2 acres. The deer that run through here made a path through his corn, never eat the first ear. We did not get 1 ear of corn between the deer and the coons. They had it all eat. And I would have, well, it might have been a few ears, but not much. But that's what, you know, if the animals have got more sense than to eat shit like that, we ought to have more sense. We don't, but we should. So don't be fooled. I will not buy one piece of anything out of this fake catalog of seeds and such. And the reason being is if I buy something, then that means that I'm supporting them. I'm right there with them. Well, if they're going to lie to me, bald-faced lie in my face, and think that I'm dumb enough not to know that this means opposite of what this is meaning, or I look into all these tomatoes, most of which are what I would call genetically modified. This goes in the trash. I will not support anybody like that. Instead, you know, the only real vote you got in your country, they run around, I voted for this person, I voted for that person. And unless you've never heard of them people, they're bought and paid for. Your vote is thrown away. But the vote that you do have that counts is your dollar. You vote with your dollar. Every time you buy something, you're voting. Yes, I agree with their everything. Like Nike, I will not buy one thing of Nike. Nike owns Adidas now. You won't see Adidas here either. I don't approve of the way they manufacturer, I don't approve the way they do. They can pay a athlete to promote something more than they pay a whole factory of workers. It's either 6 months or a year. Then they can kiss my butt. I'm not buying squat from them. You know, and that's what we got to do. That's how we change things. It's not going to be a pick up your guns and go shoot. It's not going to be march and scream and holler, because we see that don't do no good. It's going to have to be we vote with our dollar. These corporations start losing enough money, then they're going to change. That's one reason why I buy my animal feed at the co-op. Because with Rural King, I've seen them push too much corn of Roundup Ready. Well, I'm one of the lucky ones that we used to, for years, we thought Roundup was just the miracle thing, because we could spray it on our fence rows, and it worked. Unfortunately, it worked good enough to where it gave me a non-Hodgkin lymphoma that I can't. It ain't curable. And so, starting in 2005, I just started reading up on stuff. One of the things that I noticed is like sweet corn and all this new corn that they got out. The shucks are loose. They're not as thick, and there's not as many on this corn. So that means you got to have more pesticides. And I mean, there's always a drawback. If it's easy, there's a problem with that. It's not supposed to be easy. But I mean, I don't know. This is the one thing I feel strongly about, is if you're going to farm, then tell all these corporations that's trying to sell you something, no thank you. Vote with your dollar. Support the ones that's also saying no thank you. So that's it. Hope everybody's doing well.